You are now listening to Vigilantes Radio, the people's choice for quality art, interviews, music and hot topics. Hosted by Demetrius Houdini Black Reynolds and otherwise known as Dini Mussolini in the multi-universe. Call in to join the mix at 602-753-1654 or hop in via Skype. All episodes of this podcast are available for free download at www.onlyonemediagroup.com. We welcome all to submit material, topics, and ideas. Email us at vradio@onlyonemediagroup.com. Enjoy the show.
Oh yeah, one time for my people that are indigos and 2 times for my people out there that are vegans. And you know, I gotta shout out my vegans because I have been a vegan for 8 months now. And Turkey Day was just last week, which was a real struggle for me, folks. Let me tell you, I didn't want to be around it, so I stayed home. Okay? My family, they went to be with the folks, but me, I stayed home. Because I didn't want to be tempted with the chicken and the turkey and all those great meat dishes. So, anyway, I hope you guys fought the great struggle as well and did not give in to the meat, and you stayed true to your purpose. Anyway, we are up to 14,000 plus listeners and 865,000 downloads worldwide just this year alone, and we've been at it for 3 solid years. I appreciate all you guys who have been rocking with me on this journey, and we are still growing, baby. It is all because of you guys, most definitely. We are the people who have dedicated their lives to music, art, learning, and research in every aspect, and we want you we want to allow you that opportunity to tell your story. Man, I've had celebrities on my show, from Grammy award-winning artists to actors, technology geniuses, from authors, comedians, professors, aliens, people who think they're aliens. It doesn't matter who you are or what walk of life that you come from. Just come on my show and talk to us. So to book an interview or just to share a real cool story, you can email me at theradio@onlyonemediagroup.com. I am passionate about what I do, just as passionate about what you do, and together we can get your voice heard by the people that should hear it. So let's create something incredible. And with that, hello out there, and welcome to another episode of my podcast, Vigilantes Radio. Thank you guys again for tuning in and being part of my audience family. If you like information on how to call in, ask questions, or speak to the guests, I'm going to give you this alternate number because for some reason the number is down tonight. Matter of fact, the whole system is just acting up ridiculously. I think you guys are breaking their internet for our guest tonight. His name is Hutchinson. We'll get more into that later on. You guys are breaking the servers. I don't know what the deal is. But anyway, the number is 601-238-6615, or you can hop in the mix directly from the website, which is onlyonemediagroup.com. All sorts of cool links. Just scroll over to the Vigilantes Radio tab, and there's a button that says call in, and you will be connected with us. And there's also a widget there. If you would scroll down to tonight's episode, you can just hit the play button and it will screen live. There's no edits. So if we slip up, we're just being human, you know? Anyway, or if you're a fan of Blog Talk Radio, you can visit their browser by going to blogtalkradio.com/onlyonemediagroup. And as always, all episodes are available for free download as the show ends via the website, which again is onlyonemediagroup.com. And that goes for past shows as well. Tonight's episode is, which I've already let the cat out of the bag, is the Hutchinson interview. And I am your host, Dini Mussolini. I don't really have a lot of tips tonight or announcements because I gave them in earlier podcast, which we had 8,000 folks live with us. Let's check it out and see where we are at now. And it's still a little over 8,000. Man, you guys are great because I usually don't do back-to-back shows, but man, you guys are so supportive. I think it's really because of my guest tonight that you guys are still here hanging on. I know it's just little old me, Dini Mussolini, and the guests are really the superstars here. But with that, let's go ahead and dive into the interview and the real reason why you guys have hung around, right? Nah, I love you guys. Anyway, I gotta say it. This is an extreme pleasure to talk with Ryan Hutchinson, a touring musician, or was a touring musician. We'll get into more about that. He's a startup consultant and the host of BeingHuman Podcast, a crime fighter at night. And well, I'm not really sure about that, but we'll definitely know this guy is well rounded in knowledge about all things concerning the human motivation. In a somewhat rare occurrence here on our show, I found out doing my research on Ryan that he was and probably still is a fantastic audio engineer. I was beyond stoked to talk to a touring musician. I've loved touring myself. He's also the president of a talent recruiting firm and audio chemist like this that puts such convincing power and emotion into his work. For now, I'll leave it as simple as possible as letting you know that Ryan is truly a genuine guy. He's real cool, by the way. It's going to be a real pleasure to talk with a person that approaches his craft and career in all kinds of ways that I definitely respect. Ryan Hutchinson, welcome to our show, my man. How are you?
Dini, I am humbled by that intro. Thank you, brother. Thank you.
Definitely. Was I right about being you being a crime fighter, or was I just reaching there?
The secret's not supposed to get out, man. Then all the crime, all the vigilantes will know about it.
See, look, I told you he was awesome. He knows what to say. He's right on spot. All right. First of all, Ryan, I just want to say a huge thank you again and tell you personally what an extreme privilege it is to have a guy like you take a couple of moments, even seconds, as we're struggling getting set up because of this new platform we're on. But the audience stuck around because they're good, and Ryan stuck around because he's also swell. This man wears so many hats and have a drive like none other. I don't know really where to start with it all, so we'll start here. And what prompted you to begin your podcast called Being Human?
Well, the podcast, I think, was just a culmination of a lifelong quest of learning. As you know, the music industry, whether it's the business side, whether you're on the creative side, it's all about people. It's all about your network. It's all about who you know, who you're providing value for. And I feel that we can all learn from other people just as much as we can learn from our own experiences. So having said that, coming full circle from being a touring musician, growing up through sales and marketing into recruiting. And as you know, the recruitment industry, you talk to thousands of people a year, right, for all different purposes, but mainly for the idea of helping them out with their careers. It just made sense. It made sense to interview people I was interested in and hopefully learn something myself along the way, right?
Right. So are you still doing your podcast?
Absolutely. No, we actually just launched, I'd be 5 weeks ago, maybe 4 or 5 weeks ago. So this is sort of a brand new venture, one of many.
One of many. Are you excited about doing it?
Oh, I love it. Like I said, I've interviewed probably over maybe 3,000, 3,500 people in my life, in my career. So this is sort of leveling up, taking the next step and, finding out more about different walks of life, cultures, what it means to be human. Obviously, that's the overall theme, but the entire podcast is based around what I believe to be the 5 main motivations from human beings. So we're all chasing something at one point or other in our life. And those 5 happen, in my mind, to be mastery, We're all trying to master something.
Mm-hmm.
Prosperity, we're trying to, upgrade our lifestyle, provide for our families. Connection, whether that's connection spiritually, from a human perspective as well. Freedom to roam, travel, freedom of dwelling, freedom wherever you want to live, being present. And then, of course, the last that, I'm sure you are actively involved in your line of work as well, too, which is altruism, doing well for our fellow man and woman. So those, I believe, are the 5 core motivations of human beings. And I figured that basing a podcast and set of interviews around those topics is quite interesting to me. Hopefully it's interesting to everybody else.
Oh, yeah, definitely. I'd like to check it out. And where can I send our audience to check it out as well?
The main website is just BeingHumanPodcast.com.
That's cool. All right, guys, get out your iPhones and Androids and tablets and all other kind of cool devices that you have and type that web address in. And as the show ends, you can, because I don't want you to do it while my show is on. No, I'm just playing. You can if you want to. It's a free country. Just type in BeingHumanPodcast.com and check them out, because I would definitely do the same. All right, on the audio. Oh, no problem. On the audio engineering tip, which is another hat, I've noticed that you used to have your own spot called Cadence Studios for about maybe 4 years and some months, give or take. Why was there a need to pack it all up or call it quits, or is that something you're still doing today?
Cadence was my baby after engineering school. After the touring musically, while in school, out in, as we talked earlier before the podcast, when I was out in the suburbs of Phoenix, out in Mesa, Arizona, went to the Conservatory for Recording Arts and Sciences, met a band, formed a band out there, decided to go on tour. So after all of that was said and done, after I got sick of eating out of gas stations and, running out of money every day, ended up spending the last of my funds to move back home. And that was I guess you could call it, that was probably the first stint as an entrepreneur. I was teaching music lessons. I was doing some mixing and mastering in the box in my home studio. So it was sort of Cadence was a traveling studio that I had for quite some time, mainly focused around, just taking my own medicine, right? Just mixing my own stuff, trying to get as much quality out of as little instrumentation or, digital fingerprints, so to speak, that I could, and really trying to be as, I don't want to say as analog as humanly possible, but as simple as humanly possible, so that I could show other musicians, other, singer-songwriters, et cetera, exactly how to do that too. And not necessarily packed it up, I think it was just something that I ran out of time to do anymore.
Okay. And you kind of touched on my next question, which was, let's talk about, the year 2010 and how you went from touring to full entrepreneurship. But let's talk about, a period of time here. Right after, the studio, so I suppose you don't really do that anymore on a full scale. So let's talk about your transformation from, taking off the musician hat and putting on the suit. Let's talk about that for a minute. How was that for you?
Sure. Yeah, so I think one thing that I know about myself, speaking upon self-awareness, which I always preach about, is that I'm habitually unemployable. I cannot stand working for someone, but I love working with someone. I love working with people. So, I had a very small office job that didn't last very long. I literally felt myself becoming numb on my creative side. On my right brain was was becoming more and more muted just by staring at a computer screen all day. But then, of course, I always worked in different service industries, whether it be restaurant or food service industry. So I went into, back to serving, et cetera, et cetera. And as you know, the money in that can be very good and bartending and whatnot, but it's also a slippery slope because everybody in a restaurant wants to hang out in the restaurant after you're done. So all of your paycheck went right back to the place that gave it to you. So that was when I randomly stumbled upon home-based business, which for me, different things made sense. And while it's not something I do anymore, I think the personal development and the self-help, as well as some of the leadership, some of my mentors, my early age mentors, through that type of work, through that business, spawned my sales and marketing career, my recruiting career, and then, of course, starting, my own recruitment firm a few years later. So planting seeds, right? Just keeping my eyes peeled, recognizing exactly what I love to do and what I hate doing, and just trying to, navigate the waters of life, man. Just whatever feels right is generally what I end up doing in my life. So here we are today.
Definitely. I think you and I share some of the same ideas about the unemployable approach. I'm kind of the same way. Like, I have a lot of things I can offer to a job, but over time I'll just feel like I'm caged and not really being paid what I'm worth because of it. So I tend
Absolutely.
to like to work with people rather than for someone.
Sure. And I think most leaders out there in corporate America are still stuck in that old school hierarchical model of, telling someone what they need to do rather than showing them support, giving them the platform to run on, and allowing them to use a little bit more creativity in their day-to-day responsibilities. Culture, right? We all talk about that cultural fit. And you see that a lot in the startup world now. A lot of San Francisco-based companies, putting ping pong tables in the lunchroom and all these fun things. They're allowing people to actually be themselves at work, which in turn makes them more productive.
Okay. And I know this is not really in a lineup of questions, but I'm just going to ask you.
Yeah.
I assume that you often give a lot of advice. And I'm going to assume that you probably read a lot of books on, you are what you think you are, those type of books. So what type of advice do you give someone who says, Ryan, look, I know that I'm not really supposed to be working at a cage job as I do, and I want to branch out, but I really don't have the money or the know-how. I just want to get away from my 9 to 5. What do I do?
Well, I think you could speak to the best of that. Utilizing your talents, like I said earlier, self-awareness is key. Just saying you don't feel like working a 9 to 5 and then quitting your job and staring at the ceiling trying to figure it out is not the best way to go about it. But then again, neither is just having a good idea, because you and I know that, the market does not give a shit about how romantic you are about your brand new idea. But what the market does is it gives you feedback that you can then test, put in your back pocket as data moving forward. Is this something to pursue? My advice to someone who would ask a question like that, and I have gotten this question, during my recruiting days, is that, listen, if this is something that has been keeping you up at night, that your job is literally driving your health into a small corner, and or the idea of what you want to do with your life or something alternatively is keeping you up with excitement about the possibilities, I say do it. We all walk around like we actually have 2 shots at this. We're all going to one place, and that's 6 feet in the ground. So, if you don't try something, if you don't take the risk to at least test out what it is that you're passionate about or what it is that you're excited about living for, then I can't really give you any further advice. And if you don't, that's fine too. But my advice would be at least jump into the water, at least test it out first, right? And then you can always say, if it didn't work, I tried my best, I put my ambition forward. Listen, a job is always there waiting for you. You can always find another job. So that would be my advice.
All right, cool. And a lot of my listeners send me that same email. So you guys that are listening, I hope you got that tip. That was a real good tip. You don't want to go through anything without trying, you know. So put your best foot forward and all that good jazz. So I want to dive deep for a second and get your honest opinion on some file sharing programs of some sort. And this goes for products, ebooks, and music. Anyhow, I am definitely willing to incriminate myself by saying that I've, been a pirate at times with looting certain catalogs that were unavailable to me. But I had great reasons for there's no really justifiable reason there. But anyhow. All right, I caught myself there. Yeah, there's no really. Anyway, based on all of your experience and stance, what's your opinion on the end result? Is there some sort of tangible benefit you can see coming from people finding and obtaining, let's say, even music for free?
Absolutely, and I think I can agree with you. And I generally take a different stance from the seller's perspective, from an artist perspective, as well as the buyer, the audience perspective. So let's start with the seller, because you and I are both creatives and we're both putting stuff out there for the world to listen to. My opinion is that if every single time that you put an hour into your music, let's just say music, because that's most relevant, aligned with our backgrounds. If you're putting an hour into your music and you somehow think that someone is going to pay you for that hour, right? Whether it's $1 for a song or however you earn that hour, you're flat out wrong, because social media has taken that away from traditional methods or channels of business. But what it has done, I think, has provided you more value to reach a greater audience in a much quicker time period than you would selling CDs out of the back of your trunk. So my perspective as a seller, as a musician, as an artist, is I would say put as much out there for free as humanly possible, because I know myself as a buyer, if I see someone doing that, I'm like guilted into buying whatever it is that they end up charging for, because I'm so supportive, right? I'm so, Dini's putting out so much value. He's putting out some really, really great tracks. I don't care that he's already put 9 out of the 10 songs in the album out for free. I'll buy the whole album when he puts it all together and gives me that 10th bonus song. So sometimes I'll even buy books and not even read the book, just because I love following someone. So, I think it's different, man. And if you're an artist, if you're on the selling side and you don't embrace that, if you don't continually put value forward and then ask after, people just aren't going to trust you. They're not going to trust that what you're putting out all the time is good.
Definitely. And that's one of the things I do for indie artists is, like, once a month I'll get on Facebook or Twitter and say, all right, the first person to post their ebook or their music link, I'll purchase whatever it is you post on my page. And I may get like 10 posts and I'll buy every last one of them just because they made an effort. So that's my
absolutely.
That's just my way of giving back from all the other stuff I stole from established people.
And it's karma, man. Listen, it's karma. It all comes back to you. And why did you get into music to begin with? It wasn't to make $1 billion. It really wasn't. I mean, on the surface, it might have felt that way. Everybody wants to get on stage, and everybody wants to perform, and everybody wants to make money doing it. But why did you really do it? It's because you wanted a voice. It's because you wanted to get something out there that you felt meant something to you. And I think if you're doing that on a consistent basis, you know, financials will take care of themselves.
Definitely. So you guys, Mr. Ryan Hutchinson is very, very knowledgeable. So who inspired you, though, through the business world while you were first discovering your own talents and niches? And who continues to inspire you today? I get inspired easily by the cat in my backyard. That little joker is always, full of inspiration.
In the business world, huh? Who inspired me at first? Well, I heard he's since passed away a few years ago, but I once heard I hate the term motivational speaker because it's a cliche thing to say, but without some type of better description, I once heard this old man named Jim Rohn, Rohn was his last name.
Mm-hmm.
And he put these principles of just how to live a fantastic life in such simple methods, such easy to listen to with his unique style, that I started listening to his audiobooks. I started, watching his seminars and stuff on YouTube. And he was really what spawned me into just digging deeper, continually learning about business, about buying two bikes, one to ride and one to rent, right? How to make $1, things like that. I mean, just the sayings that he would say, and what he taught me on ambition from afar. I never actually got the pleasure to meet him. Really changed my life, and I still listen to him today. As far as the actual business side, oh God, one guy I love today is Elon Musk. I can't get over the type of Einstein that this man is and how he is literally shaping society. He will, when we look back 50 years from now, we'll look back on this period of time, and he will be one of a handful of faces that people look back and say, that guy, his ideas, his companies, his ambition, his wherewithal to know where we were going to be, single-handedly could have changed the future of our entire planet, let alone universe, trying to put people on Mars in the next few years. So, I mean, and I I could be completely wrong about this, but I think he was the first guy to take 3 companies over $1 billion ever.
Oh, geez.
So that alone, in a nutshell, just speaks to his business acumen, let alone his ideas. So,
definitely. All right. Can you describe for us your first business startup and the lessons that were learned?
My first business startup. I would say it would probably have to be Cadence Studios, teaching lessons, teaching engineering lessons, things of that nature. And but I can't really say that it was. I considered it a company. It was its own little thing. It was like I said, I was taking my own medicine. It was something I started for myself, but just loving helping other people out there, in similar situations and experiences.
Mm-hmm.
I think it just kind of spawned into, yeah, sure, guitar lessons, absolutely, or let me teach you how to make your audio quality sound a little bit better with this mic position. So it was different things like this that just spawned into actually doing it for other people. So I'd have to say that.
All right, Ryan, as wide open of a question here as you want to make it, tell us 5 things that you know to be 100% true about universal economics or economics.
Well, I did say one earlier that, the market does not care about your idea. The market is the market. You can't fake that. I'd have to say, the second would be and this is sort of economics, I guess we'll talk micro, work very hard on your job, right? And that can obviously earn you a living. But if you work harder on yourself and your talents, you develop those, it will make you a fortune in the end. I believe that, as I spoke to earlier, from the music buying and selling side, I think whatever you're doing in life, if you're continually developing other people, if you're continually giving them value, giving them a voice, giving them a platform, giving them the track to run on as fast as they want to, I think that the economic universe can only give you back exactly what you put out there. And I think, one thing that I was thinking about earlier today, when I read this question, was the fact that we're so bombarded with all of these outlets socially, right, from a digital perspective, that it's so hard to get someone's attention and to keep it, right? And I was thinking about, okay, well, how do you, right? What is the number one priority you do to try and keep someone's attention? And that's get their trust, right? You absolutely need trust in an environment where so many people have been scammed by things online, by people who are just slick talkers. And if you can get someone's attention, they'll pay you to do so. But if you can get someone's trust, they'll pay you forever.
Exactly.
So I think that's probably what I believe to be true about the economic world.
Very, very good points there. So what are your up and coming future plans? Getting back into music, or starting more businesses, or lighting fires on other people's asses to start businesses?
Fires will be lit, my man. Fires everywhere. No, I just, for now, I'm comfortable making music for myself. A lot of my friends who know me very well and who have followed me throughout my music career always ask me to play out live. I think I'm just done with that, and I think for the most part, the music side of me is something that as I'm putting out a brand, putting out myself, putting out my image, getting my voice heard on the podcast and on the show here. I think music is something I keep for myself, that little piece for myself. So, and it also drives my creativity. As far as business goes, still building. The life of an entrepreneur does not stop. And at the same time, whatever comes along that I feel that I would put my money towards, that I would buy, that I would trust in a brand or a product or service, and that I could help promote to my trusted network, to people who rely upon me for advice or consulting, I'd be happy. I'd be happy to give other companies, other people that same value, paying it forward. So building a recruiting business, taking on partnerships, and at the same time, I think the podcast, who the hell knows where this podcast is going to go?
Exactly.
Honestly, I have no idea where this thing's going to go. But as long as other people are out there and listening, I think I'll continue to make it.
Oh, yeah, definitely. And if you're out there and you want to start your own podcast, it's super easy. Like, I started out with one listener, and that was this girl from California who, supported my music. But when I started my podcast, she was the only listener for several weeks. And I'm an introvert. Yeah, I'm an introvert. I hate talking.
Yep.
But this was a way for me to overcome that. And here we are today, 3 years later, with over 14,000 listeners. We're on iTunes and doing all sorts of cool things. But it's all because of you guys believing in me. So,
well, hey, Dini, I got to tell you, man, I think it's so easy to just say that with a grain of salt. Mad respect, dude. I mean, that people don't understand the amount of work that goes in behind the scenes, right? Yeah. So I got to say kudos to you for one. Congratulations. But think about if you had a room of 14,000 people listening to you speak. That's amazing, man. Good for you.
I
Good for you.
appreciate that. I try not to
That's
think
proud.
about it because I tend to freak out. Like, oh man, I'm influencing 14,000 people. I'm going to create an army of monsters that think like me.
28,000 earlobes, right?
Yeah. See, I'm scared already. I'm going off air for the next month. All right. Our usual traditional is called the hot seat, and our fans love this segment. Along with the interview, and the audience get to hear um, our guests be super personal because they either perform vocals or poems or written work, spoken word, freestyle raps, jokes, stories, live instruments. You never know what these creative minds and vessels will produce in the spotlight. So tonight, we will find out if Ryan Hutchinson has what it takes to be put on the spot, a test of his true artistry. So what you got for us, Mr. Hutchinson?
I couldn't. Obviously, I cannot rap to save my freaking life. A, but B, I do have to say, I saw Busy on the website. I grew up on 1999 Eternal.
What?
That was one of my very first albums. I used to. Oh my God, my mom would definitely attest to this. But I would. Talking about introverts, I would literally put my headphones on after I got out of the shower as a kid, 2nd grade, 3rd grade, my first little Discman. I would listen to Bone Thugs, Tupac, DMX, Nas. It Was Written. I had like the best of the best albums of all time. Obviously, I'm in 2nd grade. I couldn't purchase the parental advisory versions, but I would put up my headphones on. I would just write rap lyrics. I'd write poetry. I'd go to school. I would sit on the bus. I wouldn't talk to anyone. I'd come home. I'd go upstairs. I'd listen to Power 98.9. I'd listen to the Top 5 at 9. I would just sit there and write and write and write. And it was the weirdest thing because that is what I felt was what I was put here to do for some weird reason, was just create. And I think most people don't really understand that we all have that inside of us. People always say to me, like, hey, I wish I could play guitar like you. Well, listen, you don't have to play guitar like me, but you can play guitar. You can play anything you want to play. Put it out there. Just get it out there. Get it out of your head. Get it out on paper. And as the path of life takes us, man, I don't really have any creative thing to give you on the spot, but I do have a piece of advice for everybody: is to be very keenly aware of what's inside of you and where that is taking you, where your passions are slowly taking you throughout life. Who knows how the hell you and I got to sit down here tonight. It's midnight over here on the East Coast, so who knows the people you're going to meet along the way and how they're going to get you to where you want to be. And man, tell Busy Bone I said what's up. That is the coolest thing in the world.
I sure will, man. I sure will. He's just now moving from Cali to Texas.
Oh yeah,
okay. Yeah. I was out. He was living out in Cali for a while. And I was just there in Hollywood this past week, last weekend, and he was just heading out on tour, so we missed each other. But we talk regularly since I do sorts of, small things for him. But I will tell him, my guest, that he's been listening to you since East 99 Eternal. So that'll make him happy.
When I was about 8 years old. My gosh, so long ago.
Yeah. All right, man, this has been a great interview. Thank you guys for always checking out the podcast over here at Vigilantes Radio. All these episodes are available for free download once the show ends, and that includes past shows as well. If you don't see the audio right away, just give it 15 minutes, then refresh your browser. Or if you would just like a copy from me personally, you can email me at vradio@onlyonemediagroup.com. I do answer all emails, text messages as well. If you like to book Coach Dini for artist tips or just some one-on-one conversation, you can text me directly from my website, email me, or book me via my calendar. The first 15 minutes are free, and anything after that, as far as music advice, you have to pay for it. And it's real affordable. I'm here for you guys, If you try to call me, my secretary is super bad ass, and she will not let you get through for some reason. I don't know. Maybe she just wants me to talk to herself. Who knows? Hope she's not listening. But you can definitely text me, and I will answer you right back. Make sure to email me at vradio@onlyonemediagroup.com. We're genre free. We do not judge, and we absolutely do not base our opinions on hearsay, but facts. And actually, scratch all that. All my opinions are right, and that's just the bottom line. Deal with it. I'm just kidding. On behalf of myself, Dini Mussolini, I appreciate you guys for tuning in, either afterwards or live with us. Spread the word. A bunch of great quotes from Ryan Hutchinson tonight. Special thanks to you, my guy, for joining us tonight. And just remember to be yourself and be absolutely great at it. Peace.